Hey guys, and welcome to another video in the Revit MEP for the Professional series. This is video number 4, and today we're going to be placing mechanical equipment. Now, I just set this up really quickly. As you can see, this is in the bottom left here. This is a 3D view. You can see a couple walls, a floor, and half a ceiling. And you'll see why I did only half in just coming up here. So we want to place some mechanical equipment, and a lot of our big equipment will go on the floor, but obviously we have some small stuff like air diffusers and air terminals that go in the ceiling and above the ceiling, as well as your duct and pipe, which we talked about earlier. So what I want to do now is I just want to place a mechanical equipment in our plan view. This is probably going to be the easiest one you're going to do. So you can go up here to your mechanical equipment. As you can see in the brackets beside mechanical equipment, that's your shortcut. So if I type ME, I'm going to press escape and hit this button. It does the exact same thing. So if you notice that I do some things that are pretty short, it's because I'm used to doing the shortcuts. So let me know if you have any questions about that. So I got this mechanical equipment already selected for us, and I'm going to activate this view by pressing the middle button, and as you can see, it gives us a preview of what this is going to look like. Now I can press the space bar to rotate it, and I can get it where I want it, and I just click to place it. Now it's going to give me an option of placing more than one. If you don't want to place more than one, you can just press the escape key to cancel. And actually that's twice. So we have our equipment. Just gonna see. It's placed at the 0 level, which is where our floor is. And we can move this around just as you would a pipe or a duct or anything. If I press spacebar, you can see it still rotates. And that applies up until the point where you start drawing pipe or duct. So once I draw a pipe or a duct, I can't move it. I pressed spacebar 3 times, but it didn't move. So as long as there's nothing attached, I can delete that. You can rotate it, and that's for most things. Sometimes they won't let you, depending on if it's hosted or not, or what type of family it is. It all depends on whether the family is face-based or hosted or not, and you'll find that with your mechanical equipment, whether you can rotate it or not. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to show you a hosted family. So I just went to the air terminal family, just right up here, AT for short. And you can see in our type properties here, we have our supply diffuser square hosted. So what this means is I have to place it on an object, and usually it's an architectural object. So right now we have this placed on vertical face, so most likely this will be walls or edges of ceilings. So if we go to our plan view here, you can see it only likes to stick to the walls. Or in our 3D view, if I rotate this around, It likes to stick to our floors, walls, ceilings, anything that has like a flat surface, even like the edges of these walls here. So what we want to do is we want to place it on the ceiling. So in our reflected ceiling plan, you can see these objects here. And we want this face one. Now this pretty much does the same thing as the vertical face, but in plan view it places it horizontally. So now you can see it shows up on our reflected ceiling plan, and it will show up on our plan view as well. But I think you can't see it here because I think it's embedded into the floor. Let's just click. Yeah, I'm not too sure why. Could be the view range or the visibility graphics. But anyways, let's click in place. And actually you can see it showed up on our plan view, and it's also in our ceiling. And this looks like it inserted the correct way. Yeah, it did. So like our mechanical equipment, we can drag this around, move it however we want. But there is an issue. If we try to drag it off, it'll give us an error. Now, we can leave it like that, that's fine. But when you click on this, it says its host is not associated. So it basically becomes orphaned. Now, if we drag it back, I don't think it becomes associated again. So just be careful of that. And I'll show you why in a second. So with hosted objects, one thing that you can do is when someone else or you decide to adjust the ceiling level, maybe you want the ceiling 10 feet instead of 8 feet. Now what that does, as you can see, is the air terminal went with that ceiling. It adjusted itself accordingly, and that's because it's hosted. If I Control Z back, you can see. Let's try going lower this time, because we went out of our view range, so you couldn't see it. But if we went lower, and we disappeared again, but the ceiling, the diffuser is still attached in the ceiling, and it's at 6 feet as well. And that's useful for air terminals if your architect is adjusting the ceilings a lot. But sometimes they do tend to delete the ceilings, and then these become non-associated, and then they'll recreate them, and then you'll have to reset them on the ceiling. And I'll just show you how to do that quickly. So if we go back to 8 feet, this does become non-associated somehow. One thing you can do is you can just go to this pick new work plane, go back to your face, click it again, and it's now hosted on that ceiling again. Or Control Z to make it not associated. You can just go edit work plane, and then it'll come up with this dialog, and then you can just pick a plane, pick the ceiling, and it'll become hosted again that way as well. Yeah, with Revit there's many ways to do everything, so play around with this a little bit and you'll find you'll find little quirks and stuff and fast routes to do things. As you can see in one example, we had to replace this so it actually moved when we placed it. In the other example, we didn't have to touch this at all. So one thing I was going to show you is if we go back to our air terminals and we select, let's say a non-hosted one. This one I don't think is hosted. You can see we still get the snaps that we do with the other one, but it's not snapping to the ceiling. We actually have to set this elevation, so I'm going to set it at the 8 feet mark. This family is a little different. It includes flow arrows, but pretty much the same diffuser. Now, as you can see, its host is level 1, but we have an offset. So if I change the ceiling, this diffuser didn't move because it's not hosted, as opposed to the other one being hosted. So that's just something to look out for. Let's say that you wanted a piece of mechanical equipment, but you don't have it in your Revit folder. In fact, it's something that you don't really find in the default Revit structure as well. One thing you can do is download external third-party models from different websites. I'll give you an example in a second, but a lot of mechanical equipment is out there in Revit format. You just kind of have to look for it. One good thing is that once you get it in, or once you find like the specific piece you're looking for, then you kind of have to you'll have lots of options. Anyways, so to load a new piece of mechanical equipment, we just have to go to mechanical equipment and load family. Now we can go to our default Revit folders. We can select all from that, but I actually have downloaded a new model. So I downloaded this model from the Price Industries website. So Price Industries obviously makes diffusers, grills, air terminals, and I downloaded their SDV air terminal family. It's essentially a VAV box. So as you can see, I'll make this a little bit bigger. We have I'm not sure what these A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all these ones are, but we typically use hot water in our climate and in our industry. A lot of you guys will use electric coil, but up here where I live, natural gas is cheaper than electric, so we typically run hydronic systems over electrical systems. So I'm going to click this hot water box, the left hand, which means the pipes are on the left hand side. That's all the difference is between the left and the right. And I think the controls are on opposite sides. Based on the picture, it just looks like the pipe. So I'm going to click that one. It's going to tell me, it's going to come up with this dialog of what sizes I want to bring in. I'm going to bring in all sizes. So I'm going to select them all. You can just click and drag or just click on each of these, whatever you want. But you can see all the differences that are built into these models. These are the different types. So this is an old version, so it upgraded. It's giving me an error. Apparently those aren't mechanical under the mechanical equipment family. I'm just gonna load them under the insert load family, then I can go to the, I can pick from any category, and I'm just gonna go to the file structure again. So I'm gonna do the same thing now. Select these all. I think these are under the Duct Accessories, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to confirm once we get these loaded in, but the ones that we have created, we took that model, we modified it a little bit. It will be under the mechanical equipment for us, so that's why I was used to seeing that there. But anyways, so let's go to our duct accessories. It's not there. These are the default Revit ones. I'm just gonna go under component because I know it'll be there. I'm gonna pick size 8. Now this is a non-hosted model, so you'll have to select the height. I'm gonna go with 9 feet. I'm gonna place it in our plan view. So that's all there is. With these models, you can see, I feel like I'm missing a box. But we can edit the type. We can select these things. These are attenuators. I usually select them with the 5-foot attenuator on them. Sorry, 3 feet one. 5 feet, it's too long. And that's pretty much it for selection. Actually, there's different coil rows in here too. So you can play around with these a little bit. This is the 5-foot attenuator on them. Anyways, you can play around with that to see what you can do. This one you can spin around just like normal. And you can draw your duct from it by clicking these little grips. And it'll do the default size. So this one was round, so it came off with round. This one was rectangular, so it took off with the rectangular shape. One thing in the older versions of Revit, and I don't think it's applicable today, but maybe just a word of warning. If you do have hosted elements, what would happen is if this ceiling did get deleted, it would delete all your hosted elements. Now, I don't think that's the case. I think they fixed that in the newer versions, but Just be wary of that. I think that's it for this video. Pretty simple for placing equipment. I'm not sure what the next video will be on. I'm thinking I'm going to go through setting up a model complete with the external references or links, as they're called in Revit, and we'll go through setting up an entire model. Basically what you do at the start of the project. And I think that will be a pretty popular video, because I know when I started I had no idea how to do it properly, so we'll do that. Yeah, if you enjoyed watching this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.